As we have now begun this most sacred time of the year that we call Holy Week, we see in our next 3 sections of this last chapter of how then we can be truly brought closer to God as we abandon our souls, our very lives to Him. In section 4, just at the very caption, it states that the state of abandonment guides the soul more safely, the more completely he seems to blind it. It seems odd, but how true that is when we see in the very actions of Holy Week that as God is stripping everything, He is bringing about His greatest work, the resurrection. And nothing can be more true than in the life of Mary, that as she doesn't see where this is heading to, she remains faithful and confident that all will be according to God's plan. That something good will come out of the death of Jesus, which is the greatest good of all, the resurrection. But that is what section 4 is reminding us of. That as we don't know what's going to happen next, we know, though, that God is there to help us. And this is brought forth in section 5, as we read on page 170, that God takes the cause of the simple soul in hand. He puts them in His hands. Those hands that were pierced by nails out of love for you and me. He takes us up into His hands and defends our cause, brings about our sanctification, gives us everything we need to lead us to Himself. That is why at the end of 71, then one is safe, for all that happens in the world can work nothing but good for souls perfectly submissive to the will of God, perfectly in His hands. His hands that hold us in great love. Which is why section 6 reminds us then that whatever enemies we face, whatever difficulties comes our way, whatever obstacles our enemies may throw in front of us, we are not to be discouraged, but to know that in the hands of God, all things will come about for our good. I think of the Pharisees who plotted to put Christ to death. A death that will happen on Good Friday. But God brings such a great miracle, the greatest miracle of all, out of that death. The resurrection. Our path to sanctity. May we then, who abandon ourselves to this good and gracious God, as we walk with Him in this Holy Week, know that in His hands, no matter what happens, God is there to protect us. God is there to bring about the sanctity of our souls. God is there to lift us up, to conquer over all things, especially the greatest enemy of all, Satan and sin. May we remain in the hands of God. May we put our confidence in Him as we abandon our lives to His loving providence. God bless.